Well. Well, a warm welcome to you all. I'm JJ. I'm a life coach and I eat mostly meat.
I'm Eric. I'm a novelist and I eat mostly meat, but not only meat.
But not only
Yeah, we're going
meat.
to get to that in a second, I think.
Okay.
But we missed last Friday.
We did.
And why was that?
We were well, actually, at the time of this recording, we were at Buc-ee's.
But not in Wisconsin.
No. We were in Tennessee last week.
And it was our first Buc-ee's experience.
It was.
And I hope it's not the last.
Yeah, it was good.
We actually went considerably out of our way to go to Buc-ee's. And, but we needed to make a stop somewhere to pick up water, and we wanted to pick up some meaty snacks, which
and we
did.
needed dinner that night.
Right. And meaty meals. And so we did it. And I will say that, unfortunately, the delicious Buc-ee's barbecue, brisket and pulled pork, the barbecue had sugary sauce, like incorporated into its essence before we ever had a chance to not have it.
Yeah.
So we ate it.
It was delicious.
I kind of liked the pork better, but
the pulled pork was really good. That had some magic in it too, but I don't know what that was.
So yeah. And then we got some Buc-ee's branded
pork rinds.
Pork rinds. I call them pork puffs. And so it's Chan's.
Oh,
we've missed you.
We have so missed you.
We are delighted to see you back.
Yes.
Joining us with the live. How are you doing?
Yes.
So anyway, we got the pork rinds.
We did. So, the traditional road trip. I mean, it wasn't a road trip. We flew down, but then we had an hour drive from the airport.
Yeah.
And when you stop at a big quick trip, quick mart, whatever, you think, oh, treats, snacks. And so, of course, Buc-ee's has no shortage of all varieties of mostly Buc-ee branded items.
Everything was Buc-ee branded almost, but
so we actually did something that I'm proud of. Now, it wasn't the cleanest eating you could find, yet what we did was we bought all the Buc-ee's branded pork rinds, the different flavors.
Right.
Yes. And then when we got back to our hotel room, we had a little taste test.
And we didn't film it because we're dumb.
Yet I have to say, Buc-ee's are not the cleanest. I believe they're fried in seed oil.
Yeah.
But when you're standing in a Buc-ee's, I mean, that was a pretty good choice.
It was, we escaped fairly unscathed from that experience because it could have gone way, way worse. But we were under control. Yeah. Well, and we were going to a carnivore meetup, so it didn't feel appropriate to stray too hard.
No. And we also had fun with the experience of picking it out while we were there and then going back and trying the different types. So
yeah,
it was really neat.
And we didn't end up eating all of them anyway.
No, we did not.
They weren't as good as that you have to finish them. So
that is true. Yeah. It's not like other foods that you can't stop eating.
But for the most part, our meat stock experience, just food wise, we did really well.
Oh yeah.
But there was the cheese and meat farmers there the first day at Meat Stock.
Oh my goodness.
And they were handing out samples. They made an ice cream, a raw milk A2 ice cream.
Yeah.
And they had a person in a tray carrying it around, handing it out. And I took it because I was like, oh, it's a carnivore meetup. Surely this is going to be compliant.
Yes.
Until I started eating the entire thing because it had maple syrup in it.
It was delicious.
Fortunately, it was a very small portion because otherwise I don't think I would have stopped.
No. And, it didn't cause a riot or anything.
A riot.
A carnivore riot. That's our next song. That's got to be like punk rock or something. No, it didn't cause a carnivore riot or anything. But there were people, one of the only garbage cans was in the bathroom. So when I was in there, many women were going, I hate doing this, and just throwing it away.
Yeah.
So that was unfortunate, but yeah, it was good.
I ate it and I had no ill effects.
No, it was a small amount, and it probably wasn't, I mean, to all of us, it tasted very sweet.
Who knows how much actual maple syrup was in it? It wasn't super sweet.
Yeah.
Pardon me. I was doing vocal warm-ups prior to this to try to have any voice at all. Carnivore's been being pawpaw.
Aw, that's good to hear.
I don't know what that means.
We are so glad to have you back, though. We were getting a little...
Yeah, we were a little worried. We were worried about you, but we didn't have a contact for you. So
checking your channel. No, nothing there.
You need to email us at Eric at jjanderic.com. So I have a contact for you. Granddad. Oh, Pawpaw. I know what that means. Well, congratulations, Carnivore Chans. That's huge. What were we talking? So but they had food that they served at Meatstock, obviously.
Yes.
Which was completely carnivore compliant. Yes. When it showed up the first day, it was a little bit delayed. There were some hiccups, but turned out all right. And second day, it was there perfectly on time, and it was totally compliant. I got to see Steak and Butter Gal carrying a plate full of hamburger patties in real life with a bunch of butter on the side. So it's not an act. It's for real.
It is not.
So at the outset, I mentioned that I'm eating some plants in certain circumstances. And those are, well, right now it's only one plant.
I was wondering.
Yeah,
were you sneaking something?
I just realized
I wasn't looking.
Fermented cabbage, also known as sauerkraut. Now, this is something that I historically have detested. Like the flavor of it, just I want to put sandpaper on my tongue and scrape off a layer of taste buds. But I think I'd mentioned in our last video that I had been watching Sean O'Mara, and he talks about ferments, and I was interested in it. And so I thought, well, it's time to start, and you had some in the fridge. So I added a little bit to a bite of steak, and it blended with the steak in a way that actually I enjoyed. Now, sauerkraut by itself, I don't want it. But one of the things that Sean O'Mara talks about with ferments is use it as a condiment, not like a main meal. So you're not eating a huge amount of it. So that's what I've been doing with my meals, just to see if because I'm eating it for the microbes that are in it. And JJ will speak more on oxalates for sure. And it's too early to say anything, but I'm going to be doing more experiments with ferments and seeing what happens. And it was really prompted because I had to take a course of the antibiotic Cipro. And I was like, well, I've wiped out my microbiome. So I might as well do something to try to encourage some good microbes to get into the system. So we'll see what happens with that. But the other thing that's not plant that's fermented that I've tried is kefir or kefir.
Or kefir.
Or kefir. I hear it as kefir, and then I think of Kiefer Sutherland.
Yep, that's where
and
I
I'm
go.
not pouring a big glass and drinking it down because it tastes like liquid yogurt, and I don't like yogurt. So what I've been doing is I pour a little bit into a small little dish, and I dip a piece of steak in it, and then eat that. And I like that blend too. It's actually making me enjoy my steak a little bit more.
Well, it's been making me enjoy the fact that I don't have to go buy eggs constantly in bulk, because you've sort of stopped the dipping your egg in, or at least for dinner.
For dinner.
You've stopped dipping your steak in egg yolk.
I do that for breakfast with a little bit of sauerkraut now. Although egg and sauerkraut, not the best, but so that's what I've been doing. And there's more to come on that, because then I remembered Dr. William Davis, famous
Yes.
ketogenic thoracic surgeon or cardiologist. I don't remember what she is.
Wheat belly, yeah.
Yeah, he wrote Wheat Belly and then later a Gut Belly, I think.
Yeah, he went on.
And so he's big into the microbiome, and he has his L. reuteri fake yogurt that he encourages people to culture. And he makes the most amazing claims about it being able to be sovereign for every illness possible, including increasing oxytocin, friendliness, love, affection, and all the good things.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care about that as much.
Wait a minute. You've been jealous of my carnivore mood and zen.
That's true. But I'm willing to give it a shot just for the experiment of it. So if you've done any of these things or you've made the reuteri yogurt or something, let us know because I'm curious about it. As a matter of fact, just earlier today, I was watching ketogenic woman, Anita Breeze.
Yes.
Who was there.
Was also at Meat Stock.
I was watching her talk about making it. So that was kind of interesting.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. And I've had sauerkraut back when I was doing my year of healing after being diagnosed with the gluten issues. This is like 14 years ago. I was put on the paleo diet and various eliminations, but landed on the paleo diet. And sauerkraut was part of my healing protocol. I did not like it at all, but I found a brand that I liked. You question whether there's anything good in it, but I found a brand that I like, and I've had it periodically as a carnivore. I think I mentioned here once recently this year, I was craving coleslaw.
Right. Yeah.
And rather than eating the coleslaw at that point, I thought, well, maybe it's the cabbage portion. So I bought some sauerkraut. So I've had it on occasion, but I am sort of diving into this a little bit with you as well. I'm having a little kraut with my steak and a little yogurt with my breakfast.
But JJ, what about all of the anti-nutrients in cabbage?
Well,
and whatever kimchi's made out of.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I don't know about, I'm only reading about oxalates right now. So cabbage is very low in oxalates.
Oh, to start with. Okay.
But fermentation really does deal with a lot of the issues in plants. It does not get rid of oxalates, though. I believe that Sally Norton is very clear that it does not change the status.
So we shouldn't eat fermented high oxalate foods.
Right.
We should eat fermented low oxalate foods in low quantities.
Yes, exactly.
It's because that makes it a condiment, not
exactly
a big blob on the plate.
Yeah. Yeah. And there are carbs in all of these things. Mm-hmm. So you want to be measured just for that as well.
Now, what I heard Dr. Davis say was that when you make the yogurt, it uses the lactose as the fuel, and so it removes the lactose in dairy to make it somewhat more tolerable. But I can't speak to those claims other than they were trying to answer the objections. But am I recommending to any carnivores to eat any of these things? No, because I have no experience with it, and that's why I'm doing an experiment.
Yes. That's good. It's really nice because no matter what, we always, with carnivore, sort of have true north.
Yeah.
Whatever that is for you, whether it's just strict meat and eggs, strict beef, butter, and bacon, strict lion diet, whatever your true north is, we always have that.
But if this works and it doesn't cause any problem, it's a really big deal for me because just a little bit of the sauerkraut makes a steak way more palatable. I've been able to eat them just by being hungry enough. But this actually makes me look forward to eating them a little bit more. Mm-hmm. So, and tonight's steak actually was good on its own right. So,
yeah, you said it's that little bit of acid.
I need a little bit of that sharp brightness in a bite to offset the meaty flavor. Mm-hmm. So that's what I'm doing, and I will report back at some point on what's going on with that. We'll probably end up making a video about culturing the reuteri yogurt and eating it and all that crap. But I know it's not super exciting for
I'm a little
carnivores.
bummed today, though. I bought some sheep's yogurt before we went to Nashville just to try it because I was curious. And I had it it was here when we got back. Go figure. It's like,
nobody else lives here, right?
It's like, but it's like future self was like, pick up that sheep's yogurt. You might want it. So I had a little cup of sheep's yogurt in the fridge. I liked it. And I went back to the mushroom farm today where they sell the sheep's yogurt and they did not have any at all. But
maybe the sheep was out of it.
I did get a really nice, high quality A2 cream on top, grass-fed cow yogurt. So I still feel pretty good about that.
All right. We're going to lose everybody because they don't care about any of this.
I am having hardly any because yogurt, you can I think even that cup of yogurt would be too much on carnivore.
I took actually one little tiny spoonful to taste it because I don't like yogurt.
Yeah.
And it just tasted like yogurt. There was nothing magical about it being sheep's. All right. So we brought up oxalates.
Yes.
And so Chance is asking, can JJ speak a little more on oxalates? We did talk about this in Tuesday's video.
Which got cut off somewhere though.
Yeah.
So we don't know if we're repeating ourselves or not.
Sorry about that. We teased a bear. We will show you the bear tonight. And we teased some other stuff. We don't know what we said and what we didn't say. But when I exported the video and uploaded it, I just assumed that it exported the whole thing. It did not.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things we talked about was that at Meatstock, Sally Norton, the queen of oxalates, was there.
She was there. And in the past, I haven't paid much attention to the oxalate discussion because I didn't think I was having any issues with it. But the last couple times we've gone off plan for planned off plan celebration, which might mean that I have an extra salad. And it often means that I have a Ketovore ice cream in that this ice cream contains some allulose, but most of all, it contains a high amount of cocoa powder.
So both of those things contain oxalates.
And so the last couple of times I've kind of felt bad after those days and was like, oh, and I know you can be more sensitive the longer you're on carnivore. So I just figured it was that I could tell I had inflammation happening. But there was something Sally said on day one. She answered a question that a hairdresser had, and it was like a lightning bolt from the sky went into my brain and went, what? Wait a minute. And I'm like, what did she just say? And you didn't know. And so she spoke on day 2. And what I believe has been happening to me, Alan, I'm glad you're here. What I believe has been happening to me is that being off of being on a very low oxalate diet, low to no oxalate diet, I didn't experience dumping, but what I'm experiencing is when I have a large amount of oxalates, I get symptoms. And those symptoms for me especially are my old ankle injury starts bothering me. I have one spot and I'm wondering if I have this isn't the right thing to say because it's not, but like an arthritis point or something, like there's a little something going on, but one spot in my neck that triggers a headache or feels like it's triggering the headache. The oxalates are probably triggering the headache. And my whole upper back feels like, Sally used the word, like it's shrink wrapped. And I know there's a lot of tension there, but I don't realize even how much till it starts to release. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, like I still feel a little bit sore from it releasing. And I went home first night, talked to AI, gave her, my AI was a her that night, I guess, put in all the things I normally eat, the things that I've eaten when I go off plan and the symptoms I was having. And it said, yes, this is completely in alignment with an oxalate problem. And then the next day, of course, we heard from Queen Sally of the Oxalate Kingdom. And I really feel like that's an issue for me. So it's fascinating because like I'm contemplating a life without chocolate.
How about salad?
Or very low doses of chocolate. Salad. He's waiting. How about salad? I will say that the salads I eat are pretty low oxalate.
So you're justifying them, rationalizing
them. But they really are, because romaine lettuce and iceberg are what are used in the salads that I do occasionally have, and those are very low oxalates. But man, I don't know. It's giving me pause on the salads as well. Yeah. So I'm also reading her book right now. And let me say, the thing that got me was she said something to the effect that oxalates will concentrate at an area of weakness, whether it's an overuse like carpal tunnel, or the hairdresser who was having really bad issues with her traps, or an area of injury. And on the flight out, when I was still feeling fairly crummy, I was doing some meditating and just trying to like release the body and just relax. Let the body do what it's going to do. And here I've got this pain here and the pain in my ankle. And I'm like, this is not like I need a chiropractor or something, because the ankle wouldn't be affected. The ankle wouldn't have anything to do with that. Yeah, that's true. So why is the ankle affected? And Sally gave me the answer. So yeah, it was fascinating for me, and my biggest takeaway there, and it's having reverberations throughout my life. We'll see.
So I heard a mention of a partial protocol for oxalate dumping.
Yes.
And did not commit it to memory, but kind of reinvented it out of my imagination. So whatever it is I'm doing is totally made up, and I actually need to refer to the book, which we have.
Yes.
And, but one of the things is, I think I might have some oxalate dumping. So that means adding a little bit of oxalate to stop that from happening. And then you see if the symptoms subside.
It's got to be a moderate amount, not a high. You've got to keep it in a certain range. Yeah.
Today I had a cup and a half of iced tea.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's enough. I don't know if it's too little. And also, she recommends lemon juice and water. And I guess the citric acid helps to soften up the oxalate crystals, so that they could be eliminated with less injury. Trauma. So there's another plant in my life. Fortunately, it's not full of sugar because it tastes terrible, unsweetened. It's not a lemonade, unfortunately.
What did you say, the first part of it? Oh, the tea. That was the other thing that I've noticed in recent months, because I, as a carnivore, moved into iced tea for the first time in my life. Unsweetened, of course, and I had noticed recently that tea was bothering me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And exactly. Interesting. And I would have tea, usually not at home, but when I'd go out, and I'd have several glasses. I loved it. Oh, the Italian beef place has the best iced tea. Oh my goodness. So I would have like several glasses while I was there with my friend chatting. And then I was noticing, it was very often on days that I had theater, I would be noticing issues later in that night. And now I know.
Yeah, could be.
Oh, I think it is.
So I grew up drinking sweet tea because my parents were from the South. Mm-hmm. By the gallons and gallons and gallons of it. And eating infinite pounds of chocolate per year. Well, infinite is probably an exaggeration, but you know what I mean. And then as we got into the healthy eating, I think we've mentioned before, sweet potatoes.
Yes.
I've eaten bushels of sweet potatoes.
Yes.
I've had bushels of kale and spinach and chard in smoothies. So I was loading oxalates. Mm-hmm. And so it would make sense that now, even 2 some odd years into carnivore, I'm getting rid of them. And she actually said that it sometimes takes a year into carnivore before the dumping really begins in earnest. So it could catch people by surprise because they're feeling so good. And then all of a sudden it's like, what's going on? My whole system's against me.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. I don't know that I've been suffering. I don't know which things that have been hanging around for me are that issue, but I certainly wake up with the crystals in my eyes every morning.
Yeah, I think mine seems to have a very definite correlation. And often when you're looking at oxalates, it's not easy to correlate it to anything because it comes out of the blue.
Yeah.
You're eating compliant even, and it comes out of the blue.
Hi, Susie. I'm sorry. Sue, Smoky Bear Lover. I don't know why I called you Susie. I don't know if you go by Susie. You probably are like horrified by that. Just like you don't call JJ Jenny.
No.
Hello, Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
Good to see you again. Bootstrapper is asking, have you guys heard about the new trend, the sugar diet?
Oh, yes.
I have not.
Oh, yes.
What is all of this about? Just eat sugar?
Well, I am not an expert on it, so I can't speak to it a whole lot. But it's eating large amounts of sugar in the form of fruit or even sugar, I guess, and keeping your fat low. And I think you only eat protein in the evening meal.
Okay.
I think the evening meal might be protein and starch, and it's like all fruit up until then. Again, not sure. Not sure if I've got that exactly right. But it is a high dose of glucose and fructose. And for me, I know of one influencer who is trying it as an experiment and being fairly measured in the approach. And then I've also heard the Two Crazy Ketos just dropped a video that really goes into details about it. It's a good video. And they are not doing it, and nor do they condone it. I mean, they don't judge people, but it's just, I see the huge problem. This influencer who's doing it is not seeing massive blood sugar spikes or anything. It's really interesting so far. Oh, and I forgot the piece. You're supposed to do it for like 40 days or something. Like it is a long-term, quick weight loss diet, but you do it for quite a while. So you're not getting any nutrition during that, or very little nutrition at that time, that entire time you're doing it. So that's a problem, I think, right there. Lack of fat is a problem right there. And then fructose, because even though this influencer's blood sugar, and I don't know, maybe it'll work for her. Maybe there are people, well, I still don't think it's sustainable. But anyway, her blood sugar is not doing a whole lot, but fructose does not necessarily affect the blood sugar. It goes directly to the liver. The glucose, it's not a glucose. So the insulin does not have to manage it. It goes directly to the liver and can contribute to non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. So I think that is very dangerous. I'll just put it that way. I think I don't think it is a healthy diet.
Sounds stupid to me. But then carnivore sounds stupid to other people.
Right. And I have to keep that in mind. I really do. And, and maybe if you do it for a little, again, it seems too long to me. I've heard both 40 days and I've heard 100 days.
40 sounds more biblical to me.
But that seems even a little too long to me for good health and nutrition. But what do I know?
Alan had 93.7 hamburger with a side of hamburger. That's pretty. Is that fat to? No, that's got to be 7% fat.
Yeah.
That's lean.
Yeah, that's what I would say. Hold the oxalates. I hear you. I'm with you. Absolutely.
Cold carnivore meatloaf, a pile of sauerkraut, and the JJ and Eric show, and new friends. What a great combination.
There we go.
Agreed. Alan says, oxalates are for real. That's why salad is toxic.
I'm telling you, Alan, maybe it was you shooting the lightning bolt into my brain or something.
Here, read this one.
It could happen. It could happen because
you got to read it.
She's coming around. One day JJ will say those magic words, I'm done with salad. It's life-changing. It could happen. I am very much closer to that than I was a week ago. Let me tell you what. Holy cow. Yeah. Yeah.
Sue says, all the money I wasted on throwing away uneaten produce.
Well, and that's what this influencer is saying too, is that is a little bit of a hassle, is that they're eating all the time and having to get produce all of the time. So it's a bit of a heavy lift.
So Smokey Bear Lover is reminding me that we teased in our last video bears. Yes. And then because the second half didn't render an export, nobody found out about the bear.
I swear we told you in the video.
We did, but at the back half of it.
Yeah.
Because we had this video in the video. But let's back up.
Okay.
We get to the hotel, the Doubletree Park Vista in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. Mm-hmm. And we're checking in, and at the counter, there's a flyer that tells you how not to get eaten by bears because they're everywhere. And it says, do not leave any food in your car because your car is going to get jacked and
by a bear.
And I'm looking at this going, well, it's probably something that happens maybe once or twice a year. And so this kind of, they want to keep the bears from coming to the parking lot looking for food. So they're just warning everybody like this. But, I was skeptical.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And we even started saying, hey, do you see a bear out there? And we'd look out the window and we
I don't see a bear.
Didn't see any bears.
No bear.
Until I took a shower one day. Well, I took a shower every day, but I took a shower and I looked out the window right when he got in the shower, of course. I look out the window and there's a bear in the parking lot. Now, this bear had been there that morning because on the way to meat stock, we were in the shuttle with other attendees. And one of the women had said she came out that morning to go to her blue pickup truck. And someone said, stop, you don't go that direction. There is a bear in the blue pickup truck. And she was worried it was hers. It was not. But she had pictures of the bear in the bed of a pickup truck where apparently someone had pretty much left a picnic basket. Like there was candy and all sorts of things back there, she said. So anyway, so that evening there's the bear and I couldn't tell you because you're in the shower. And so I took some video of it. And luckily the next morning you saw it. You said there's the bear outside. So I jumped up and looked out the window and we saw this guy roaming around the parking lot. Now this is zoomed in and magnified. It was quite far from our window.
Our 9th floor window.
And it was in the back reaches of the hotel parking lot. Mm-hmm. But this bear just did not have any fear or concern. And it was looking for food.
Yeah.
And this bear, unfortunately, basically lives on the sad diet.
Yeah, it does.
It's looking for French fries. It's looking for McDonald's bags that people have thrown.
Those candy bars in the back of that.
Yeah, ate a whole bunch of candy bars.
Truck, yeah.
And that car, of course, went up there to get a picture, and then it ambled off.
Yep.
So apparently my theory that it only happens a couple of times per year is totally false. It actually happens frequently, almost every day, because when we weren't looking out the window, occasionally we would hear an air horn going off, which was the hotel trying to scare off another bear or this bear.
There's the junk it was eating before.
Oh, that little white bag by the guardrail. Yeah.
Yep.
It pilfered whatever was in that. So, that was bears.
This is the first time I've seen a wild bear. Now, a friend of mine said, how wild was it if it's in the parking lot? True. But yet this was the first time I'd ever seen a wild bear. So it was interesting. And I was happy to be in my hotel room, even though the bear really just looked like it was looking for food. It didn't seem too aggressive.
And then when it was done, it slipped under that guardrail and went down the hill.
Yep. Yeah.
So now you know about the bears.
Yes, you do.
So we were challenged on our last live, JJ.
Yes, we were.
Because we mentioned at the top of the show that we had stopped at Buc-ee's and we got some pork rinds.
Mm-hmm.
But that reminded us when we got home, hey, we were challenged to put pork rinds in milk.
Yes.
Because of the claim that it tastes like some cereal.
Rice Krispies.
Rice Krispies.
Yeah.
And it sounds like a terrible idea. So we're going to do it.
I don't think that viewer's here tonight. I hope she catches the replay.
We did get a comment later that, the name is escaping. Somebody tried it and ended up liking it. So
now, wait a minute. Let me just state, we are not going to do this because I don't like cereal and milk. The only cereal I ever ate as a kid was the kind that turned your milk chocolate. So I am not trying this.
All right, let's bring out the equipment. All right, so what do we got here? We have a bag of Max pork rinds, original. I did not want flavored to put in milk.
No.
And I do not have my glasses, but it's fried pork skins, salt, natural smoke flavor, fried in rendered pork fat.
Yeah.
So not in seed oil.
Pretty clean. Yeah, I looked for the clean.
We have here, what is
Look at
this? You read this.
I can read this.
It's too small.
This is whole milk from Silo View Creamery. It is A2 cream on top, gently pasteurized, non-homogenized, grade A.
So how does this work? Do we crumble these up or just put them in whole, or?
I think you should crumble them a little, but not too much. You don't want pork panko.
All right. That's one. I don't know how many I should put in since this is probably going to be so terrible that I don't want it. I don't love pork rinds without a little chemical on it.
Chemical flavoring.
Sorry for the crunch. That was a loud crunch. Do I need to shake this milk?
I just shook it, but
you shook
yeah.
it. All right. So here we go. Breaking the seal.
Do you remember you used to leave these all over the kitchen, the little milk rings?
I would actually leave the ring on the thing and you'd use your thumb to hold it. Otherwise it'd fall in whatever glass you were pouring it. So I have now poured milk into the pork rinds, and it is kind of a Rice Krispie kind of looking material. I don't know if you can see that. I should have put more in, but there's a spoonful. And I am now going to take a bite.
Another bite. Yes.
Is that too crunchy? Is that too loud for you?
No, it's not that loud. It's ASMR, right?
It's an ASMR. This is really good.
Is it really? Really?
I think the reason is, pardon me, I think the reason it's really good is because milk is very sweet when you don't have anything sweet for a long time, and you can actually taste the carbs in the milk. And the pork rinds don't have a lot of flavor. And so the sweetness of the milk and the crunch, and then the kind of a back of the tongue savoriness of the pork rind emulates a Rice Krispie texture and flavor note. It's probably not quite as sweet. I mean, it's been decades since I've had Rice Krispies in milk.
Well, they did have unsweetened Rice Krispies. Wow.
I like it.
You were not expecting that.
No, I thought I was going to have to spit it out. Now, will that make a entry into my normal eating patterns? No, because I don't really need all that dairy.
Mhm.
But the challenge was put to us, and we did it, and I liked it.
Now, I was also challenged to try cod liver.
So where is it?
We haven't ordered it yet.
Convenient.
So maybe
isn't
that'll
it?
be next time. No, I thought, let me just check at the stores, and I did this week, and truly you were all correct. They are not in our stores. So we will need to order some. I hope I don't need to order a case though. I don't know. Oh, of course we've got a dog though.
Well, we do, but also I've dropped my sardines to like 110 with a little bit of sauerkraut in it, just a little bit of kind of like garnish in it, and some smoked Redmond salt.
Mhm.
And I've dropped the mustard, and I've been enjoying that. But if we had cod livers, maybe I just throw those in there and
True.
stop taking my desiccated liver for a while. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Depends on how strong the flavor was.
All right. Sue says, I was watching another influencer's meat stock footage and I scoured the crowd for you two. I didn't see either of you. You hid well. Yes. Well, actually, we've said it before. I'm sort of, what is it, an ambivert where I can be somewhat, I can socialize okay, but in a crowd, I generally like to hang back until I get a lay of the land and everything. And of course, he is a super introvert. So, and you also have long legs. Not as long as the man in front of us.
Oh, right. Yeah.
On day one, he was taller than Eric. But so we usually stick around an aisle in the back. And that's what we did. That said, we socialized a lot. Even you went up to a couple people and
talk to them
first
on purpose.
On purpose. Yes. Now that said, I think I said it in the video, but it got cut off. If you ever see us at an event, please come up and talk to us if we don't come to you. Please, because it's not like we don't like people. It's just Eric's an extreme introvert. So he would be thrilled to talk to any of you.
Yeah, as long as you have something interesting to say.
But make sure it's good. No, but Eric's not the one who's out, and I am not either, who's out looking for new people to talk to.
It's hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
And part of the reason why it's hard, I'm going to show you something here. This is a picture of the hall.
Oh,
the venue.
Yes.
So what you're seeing is where we were standing. This is a kind of like a wedding venue. So it has a hall that runs one way and then a wings that run crosswise of it. And so there was seating from the stage down, and then where we are is way to the left of the stage, looking down toward the right of the stage. And the stage is not visible here, and it's on the left of this picture.
Mm-hmm.
And when things are on a break like this and people are talking, it's the murmur volume is so loud. I have a very difficult time hearing any specific voice, even if they're talking right to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then also most people are talking at my chest and not my face. And so I've got to bend over. And then my voice is very raspy and weak right now. I don't know what's going on with it. I've just been kind of tense or hoarse or something. So when I have to talk, I can't project enough to be heard. So we often had to step outside to where there was a nice little area out in the sun and have conversations there where we could actually hear and be heard.
Yes, yes. But who did we? Well, first off, I've now been to a couple events, right? This is our 4th total. And so I'm starting to know people. So that helps me a lot. And so Dr. Kiltz, I've met already. He came over and he gave us a good old pat. So that was really nice. I didn't get a chance to talk to him because we had transportation issues on day 2. And that was when I was going to go hang out and chat with Dr. Kiltz. And Jenny Middich and her husband were there. And so I really, really enjoy those two. If you haven't checked out Jenny Middich's channel, which is much bigger than ours, check it out. She's got a cookbook coming out this fall that she said she's editing this week. I'm going to hold her to that. She lives in the Chicagoland area, so that's one of the reasons we really connected, and hope to have her and her husband up here to the property in the next few weeks.
Did we say on the Tuesday video that they saved our bacon?
Oh, did they ever?
Let's retell the story.
We have to retell the story. So I was so thrilled to see Jenny, knew she was going to be there. And she was one of the panelists. And she was also doing a lot of recording for her channel, which we do not do, but she does B-roll and such. So she was constantly in motion and walking around, and she'd come back and stay with us and chat with us and then go on her merry way. She also interviewed us.
Yeah, that's true.
Briefly.
May show up on her channel.
It may show up. So day 2 ends, and it was a great experience overall, but he's way done. And even I am done at this point. I'm like, okay, the event's over. They're having some music, but we're gonna leave. We're gonna get out of there and head back to the hotel. And we've said our goodbyes to everyone, and we go out to the shuttle bus, and the guy's on the phone to someone, and he's like, we've had a falling out with the shuttle bus company. I've only got this one shuttle bus. And then he gets off the phone after he's working that out, and you ask about it.
Yep. And he says, we're not taking anybody anywhere until after this whole thing's over, and it's going to be later than expected. And I could see the lines forming in my mind because they also needed to shuttle people from the top of the hill to the bottom of the hill where the people who drove there had their cars, because some of the people just weren't going to be able to walk that. So we immediately got our phones out and tried Lyft and Uber, and there's nobody. And so now I'm getting to this. I'm trapped and I hate it. And I want to go back to the room and be in silence.
But you were managing.
I was
well.
I had game face on.
You were good. Yeah.
But I could see the future and I didn't look bright. And then Jenny Middich's husband, Goran, comes out and he's like, we just said goodbye to you guys. Why are you still here? And we tell him the situation. He's like, and then Jenny comes out like minutes later and she hears the story and she's like, we've got you. We've got a truck here. We will take you to your hotel.
And they did.
And they are our heroes. I was so happy. I cannot tell you how happy I was. One, to be able to leave at that moment, but also not have to be in the 15-passenger van for 20 minutes.
Yes. Because
of claustrophobia. But anyway, that was great. Thanks to both of them.
Yes.
It was wonderful. Yeah. Everybody we met there was great.
Oh my goodness. Everyone was the participants, if you're ever considering going to any type of carnivore conference or meetup and you're like, ugh, but I'm not to my goal yet, or I just fell off the wagon and got back on the wagon, or maybe you're even new to carnivore and you're like, oh, but I'm 3 days in. I have no right being there. No. The people there were from all walks of carnivore.
Yes.
Yes. Liz, she was just ready to get back on the wagon, right?
Yeah.
And she was there for inspiration and because she lived in the area, so that was useful. Her brother Bill came. He's kind of carnivore curious, but mostly to support his sister.
Yep. And
again, there were so many different people on their different paths with carnivore or keto. There were ketos as well. Keto
language, JJ.
Keto.
Speak it.
Yeah. People doing keto as well.
But not the two crazy ketos.
But no.
They were supposed to be there, but they couldn't make.
I was bummed by that because I did want to meet them while they were there. However, again, there were so many people there. It was incredible. So I got my fix. And I met Maria Emmerich too, who I've told you, I've done her coaching program. She was an unexpected guest. So I got to talk to her a little bit.
How many times has JJ mentioned Courtney Luna's Cobb salad on this show? 100 at least.
Now that's a salad you can get behind.
And so she's sitting there signing her books, and a talk ends, and I get up and I introduce us to Courtney and say, my wife loves your salad. And Courtney's like, you got the wrong person. I don't do salads. And then JJ had to explain it was the Cobb salad. And
yes.
Then she's like, oh, okay.
Got it.
That makes sense.
Well, she's quite an introvert too. So I think by that time, this was near the end too.
She's kind of burnt out.
She was also, well, I know she was done because I watched her meat stock video.
Oh, and she said she was done.
And, it was rough. And she was there longer than us.
Oh, yeah.
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 Yeah. She was there longer than us. Yeah. So we met so many people. I have one more story about an influencer, but I want to talk about Courtney for a second, because in her video where she talks about meat stock, it's really cool because we were not staying at any of the cabins. I believe the speakers were staying at the cabins. And then I think participants, you could buy tickets for the cabin. They were very limited, but we just did the conference, which was plenty for us. But the cabin looked amazing. They had family style dinners with steaks and things. And it just looked like a really neat experience. There was it was quiet, a lot of time to talk to people. And what I wanted to bring up, and I saved it. I was going to say this at dinner, but I did not. They had a steak taste test where they had different steaks, and they each tested them. Oh. Now, she didn't show the whole thing, because that would probably be boring to people, but they were talking about, how this one tastes a little more acidic, and this one tastes a little more this, and I prefer the taste of this one, and it's not the cow's fault it tastes like this. So I don't know the whole context, but you often talk about the variability of the flavor of a steak, and so they were sort of hitting that big time in this taste
I'll
test.
have to watch it.
Yeah, again, it's really a small snippet, but you should watch it anyway so you can see that cabin experience a little bit. It was cool. Very cool. Should I go into my last thing about meat stock?
Is it one of these things?
Well, it's this one.
The top one?
It's about meat stock.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
It's my last thing about meat stock. So this is our 4th meetup, and when we've signed up for other meetups or decided to go, I've wondered, is Bella going to be there? I've been part of her community for more than a year, and there's a lot about what they teach that has really helped me shape my carnivore paradigm. And she's always at another carnivore event the same weekend. That's not ours. So finally, I knew she was going to be at this one, so I was going to be meeting her, and I was excited about that.
This is Steak and Butter Gal.
This is Steak and Butter Gal, Bella, the Steak and Butter Gal. And sure enough, day one, she's talking to someone right behind us, because remember, we're in the back. And I'm like, oh, well, this is easy. So we were standing up and stretching anyway on a break. And so I turn around and she's speaking to someone. So I'm waiting for that person to finish before I introduce myself. And someone else inadvertently cuts in from the side. And so, because I'm not technically in line, I'm at my chair, but her husband, Max, is there, and he's been waiting too. And he sees me, and he's like, he introduces himself to me. Hi, I'm Max. You're JJ. Hi, JJ. He's like, don't worry, I got you. And I'm like, well, that's really nice, but he's busy too. And so I'm thinking he might forget that, but no, he's got me. So he makes sure that I'm the next person she speaks to and the last person at that break. She was wonderful, very warm, kind. She also played piano for us.
Yep.
Not just us, the whole group at one point, which was really cool. And I have to say that Max was just one of the friendliest, warmest people I have ever met. He was just so incredible. It just radiated off of him.
This is Steak and Butter Guy.
Steak and Butter Guy. Yeah. Yeah.
And here we are with Bella.
Yes, there we are with Bella.
And the photographer is Steak and Butter Guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was great meeting her. And I didn't really talk to her very much, but
no,
I talked to him quite a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. But whenever he saw us,
nice.
whenever he saw us, he remembered our names. He gave you a hug before we left, I think. Yeah, he was just
I think
great.
he's just a very outgoing guy.
Yeah, yeah. So that was very cool. I just heard that he's an only child because I was kind of hoping he had a younger brother that we could maybe introduce to our daughter. But
that's funny.
Unfortunately, no.
Somewhere she's just keeling over in mortification.
Yes, she is.
Let's hop up here and see what people are saying. Did we hit this one?
Yes.
Yes. We see bears in our yards here in West Wisconsin.
Oh.
And the neighborhood backs up to the state park. Yeah, it makes sense.
Every now and then we get reportings of bears moving through this area, but they don't generally seem to.
Never seen one.
Stay here.
Seen coyotes.
Yeah.
Carnivore says, seriously, this was to the Rice Krispie pork puff experiment. What we do without of Daredevil Eric. Yeah. It was good though.
Yeah.
Oh, here it is. What would we do without our Daredevil Eric? Oh, that's funny. I'm so glad to see you back, Chans.
Yes.
Remington. Hello from upstate New York. Can't wait for summer weather. Got here late. I'm watching what I missed in double time.
Might be. Yeah, we had a dip in our weather this past week as well. It was pretty in the 40s and cloudy, kind of fall weather.
But the grass needed it.
Yeah, the grass and the plants and the crops all needed it.
All of the soybeans and corn that are going to poison people next year needed the water today. Lisa says, I'm an INFJ. My son finally took the test a couple days ago. He was literally friends with everyone in school, but he's an INTJ.
Mm.
Interesting.
Mm.
I've taken the Myers-Briggs test a handful of times, and I don't think I got the same results twice. I was an INTJ and then like an IN dash because I split the difference between the last two. So I don't know what that means. Love and miss you guys so much. I got a bunch of catching up to do. Fridays are just so hard. Yep.
It's really tough luck, Lisa. No, I'm kidding. No, it's really kind of fun for us because I feel almost like it's our Friday night out, but we don't leave the house where we get to, chat with people sort of.
Yeah. So Alan's asking, who was your favorite speaker at the conference, JJ?
Oh.
I got to think about that because
I know
there were some good ones. Dr. Ovadia did a nice talk he talked about Dave Feldman's paper about the Keto CTA and kind of how that fits into his framework of thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And Sally Norton, of course, gave that great talk on oxalates.
His presentation was good.
I'm going to have to say, I'm going to go with Dr. Ovadia's talk.
Yeah.
Because it hit, I mean, it was maybe less impactful for me because I'm already down that path with him. But, and I think Sally's talk probably was more of a experiment sparker for me. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'd have to say Dr. Ovadia's talk.
Yeah, Dr. Ovadia.
Oh, no.
Oh, wait.
Dr. Barry's talk was...
I was just going to say that. Yeah. So I think Dr. Ovadia's was fabulous information. I was going to say he speaks very clearly, which he does. No stuttering, no lisp. He speaks very clearly. But he did not prepare this talk. And he was just it was very well thought out and organized regardless. And it was great. And one of the things he pointed out was that carnivore is not magic. So everyone's journey is different. Everyone in that place had made incredible progress on carnivore. And some people still had other issues that they had to deal with. And many of the speakers, panelists, talk about their oxalate issues or their use of peptide therapy or something. So I thought that was a really, really important message to bring up, because we hear a lot of the influencers, and I had a pretty easy road. So you think, oh, it's just going to solve everything. So I loved that he brought that up, and in that context said, do not bury your head in the sand if you're a carnivore and think that it is going to protect you from heart disease. To actually, in his recommendation, get the imaging done.
That was his whole point.
Yeah. Don't rely on, don't use cholesterol numbers and so forth. Get your
CAC score.
CAC score. Yeah. Which is pretty cheap and pretty easy for almost anyone.
And there's an important distinction.
Yeah.
Because you know me. He views CAC as a screening tool.
Yes.
Not as a diagnostic tool.
Yes.
Let's leave it.
So explain. No.
We don't want to leave it there. Screening says, the CAC as a screening says, if it's 0, then your risk in the next 5-10 years is low.
Mm-hmm.
If it's higher than that, based upon your age, then it's like, we need to go maybe to another imaging technique, the CT angiogram, to really understand the composition of the plaque, in order to understand what kind of intervention we need to do. And the intervention isn't necessarily a medicine. It's diet, maybe some supplements, maybe some exercise, or maybe more frequent monitoring. But his point is, because because imaging is so good, and once you do a CT angiogram, you now have a diagnostic tool. It's not a screening tool, it's diagnostic. That relying on the lipid panel alone without the imaging is just covering your eyes to available information that can really give you a clearer picture about the state of disease.
Yeah.
And he does, and the CAC is relatively cheap. So
yes. So that was his big takeaway with all that. And let's circle back around to Dr. Berry. Dr. Berry, I think he must have grown up speaking in church or something. Like,
it was kind of a barn burner.
Yeah. So, his is very inspirational, full of energy, classic Dr. Berry. So that was a great talk as well. And his big message was that in the past, there have been doctors and other experts who have known that eating a proper human diet is what is necessary for optimal health, and that it can alleviate or cure a lot of diseases. And their voices have never been able to reach the critical mass that we're experiencing now, because they were only able to speak locally or publish a book. And how many people bought that book? Was the book even available in the region way back when? So his big point was the difference we have now is social media. So he encouraged everyone to tell their story, whether it's on a post on Facebook, and to do it regularly. Don't think you do it once and then you're done. But to tell your story, don't worry that you might be bothering people or someone might not agree with you, but to keep telling your story so that this movement does not die. And he doesn't see it dying because of social media.
Yep.
So what do you have to say about it? Anything?
I agree. I mean, we have a YouTube channel.
For exactly
We're
that
doing
reason.
It. We're doing the thing.
Yes.
Sue just crunched up plain pork rinds and poured heavy whipping cream over. I don't think it'll be in rotation in my diet either. I have to imagine what that mouthfeel would be like. It might not be too bad. Take the test every 6 months, and I alternate between INFJ and INTJ. Also, Fridays are my Tuesdays, and Mondays and Tuesdays off work.
I get that.
Yeah.
I get that.
Do you know if the organizers taped the presenters so we can buy access to view the speakers online?
I am not aware of that. Dr. Kiltz had his crew with a setup.
Yeah, they recorded the talks and the panels, but whether they're going to be available through YouTube sometime, they didn't announce that.
No.
I can't imagine he's recorded it for no purpose. So maybe they'll have a meat stock channel and then slowly release those over the course of some time. I don't know. The panels, it was talks and panels. The panels were pretty good, depending whether they applied to me or not. Some of them didn't really apply as much, but it was nice because they would take questions from the audience, and it was pretty frequent that someone would have made good progress with carnivore, but there was some sticking point. And so there was lots of discussion about that. But I think most of the benefit was in the networking and in the one-on-one conversations that people had with the panelists and speakers outside of the program. And Dr. Baker spent basically 2 straight days just talking to anyone who wanted to talk to him.
Yeah. He did do little mini interviews of people telling their stories. And he was out in the courtyard. Yeah.
Holding court.
Holding court out in the courtyard quite a bit, just letting people come up and ask their questions.
Yeah, it was great.
It was, and honestly, he was in the courtyard, which was nice because sometimes we had people doing consultations right behind us during the event.
That was not quite that great.
Not great. But all of the experts and the doctors were extremely generous with their time and answering questions. Dr. Barry, even in the courtyard, was doing a voice memo for someone so that they could take that to their doctor.
Yeah.
It was, yeah. And again, everyone was like that. So I would agree. It was the networking and the community and the connection that really, really made this special. Everything was great. The speakers were great. All that was great. And that was what was magical.
So our Tuesday video was kind of about the big takeaways that we had from Meat Stock, even though one of them wasn't at Meat Stock, and how we're upgrading our carnivore through these experiments, basically. So if you haven't watched that, it's good. It's only half the video. But now you've heard the second half, so now you can go back and hear us tease the bear thing that you've now seen. But one of the things that it did for me, which is what I was looking for, was to spark some inspiration and ideas for this channel, as well as for my own health purposes going forward. So we have some good ideas about some things we're going to do long-term with the channel, as far as new videos and some videos that are going to take a little while to put together, because the content creation of it will span days or weeks or even months. So that's pretty exciting. Chance, I was out on the driveway yesterday getting ready to do sprints, and I had my camera out.
Yeah.
Did I do the sprints?
No, you did not.
I had to scratch it.
Yeah.
But there's a reason for that, and I'll talk about it in some video at some point. But another thing that hit me was I like to have my quarterly or 3 times yearly blood labs done. And I had a whole set done in January in preparation for a consultation with Dr. Ovadia. And there was a few little red flags on it that had stood out in my mind, but the doctor didn't seem too concerned about it. And so I just kind of said, I'll just give it time. But I knew that I needed to have that rechecked. And so I went through walkinlabs.com to order a set of labs for myself, just to get them done. And I had the blood draw, and it was really, really interesting because in January, I had picked up in my blood count, my complete blood count, low neutrophils and low white blood cell. And I'd forgotten about the low white blood cell. I just remembered neutrophils because at the time I didn't know what they meant, and I didn't like the sound of the word. And it was in red. But the doctor didn't really seem to be too moved by it. So it had the feel of, we'll just check it again the next time around. And I decided, well, it's been since January, I better get on it and check it. And there's another thing I needed to check. So I ran a bunch of things, and it was very fascinating. Long story short, the new results were great. everything's back where it belongs. So no alarm, no worries. But I learned why.
And this is relevant.
Okay. So we're going over, JJ.
We are.
And if people stay with us, I'm going to keep talking about this. So back in September of 2024, I had a set of blood labs, and there was one thing in my complete blood count thing that was out of range, that was unexpected. Now, my platelets are always low because I have a 15-year history of knowing I have thrombocytopenia. It's an autoimmune thing, but it's never super low. So it's fine. You just check it, keep track of it. But there was one measure that was just at the top of its range, but it looked like a blip. And then the January thing comes around, and these other numbers are like way more out of range. And I didn't connect with the previous thing that there was maybe a trend. So now I'm not worrying about this number a whole lot as the months go by. I occasionally kind of remember, like, there was the neutrophil thing I need to check on. And then we're flying home. I'm like, I need to get on my blood labs. I need to take a look at some things. And I get the labs out, and I, of course, give it to AI, and I start talking to the AI. I'm not going to go through the whole conversation. But in passing, it's like, oh, this neutrophil thing can be from a copper deficiency. And I was like, I'm a carnivore. I get everything I need, right? And so it's, and it was like, well, what do you eat? And I told it what I eat in a day, and it said, no, you're not really getting any copper. And then it said, by the way, were you taking zinc at one point? And I said, yes, I was. I was taking 50 milligrams a day for quite a while last year. And then last September, I quit it. And so it all pieces together that I was eating very little copper, and the zinc blocks absorption, which is why if you actually know what you're doing, you make sure you're getting extra copper if you're supplementing zinc. I don't know what I'm doing, so I didn't do that. And so very slowly, these numbers started to change, and it showed up. But what was serendipitously, I had started reintroducing my desiccated liver, which has copper in it. Mm-hmm. And I was not taking very much of it because I was afraid of vitamin A. And so I was just taking this, like, the very lowest amount, like 1 or 2 capsules a day. And it's supposed to be like 6 per day. And I did that because I was having, some mild neuropathy in my toes, and I was having some muscle twitches, and I was like, oh, maybe it's a mineral thing. And it resolved the muscle twitches almost like 90%, 95%. And I asked Chat, I'm like, well, would this intermittent neuropathy be related to copper? It's like, yes, it would, possibly. So we don't know that's the thing, but it sort of added up. So when I got the new results, and I had been taking copper-containing liver, and now all of the blood count is back to normal, I had basically had a copper deficiency neutropenia and leukopenia, and I fixed it by mistake.
But wasn't there some reference that, it is something carnivores, unless you're eating organ meat, need to be
right, because
a little bit aware.
Everybody's very individual.
Yeah.
And so the point is, do some labs every once in a while, people, please. Just because you get a baseline, and then you can see if things change, and you can catch those types of things. And if you are supplementing zinc,
yeah,
you definitely want to make sure that you're getting some copper. But obviously, copper is a metal. You don't want to just have a crap ton of it.
No, because
don't swallow pennies.
I had too much copper back when I was working with the naturopath on the gluten thing 14 years ago. And that was the whole garlic.
Oh, okay.
Was part of that
to try to clear
cleanse.
Copper?
Was to clear copper.
Interesting.
Now I had a copper IUD at the time. So that was what I got that taken out. And then I had to continue to clear the excess copper through the use of several things, but garlic being one of them.
So before we wrap up, one more point about the blood labs.
Mm-hmm.
Because I ordered this bundle of labs, I got my lipid panel done. And
as one does.
And I was expecting only terrible news on that, but I don't care about the terrible news except for triglycerides and HDL, right?
Well, why?
Because my triglycerides and HDL have been what's the word? Stubborn. And haven't conformed to the carnivore pattern of low trigs and higher HDL to get that ratio where everybody wants it.
And what does Dr. Ovadia say?
He says, get that right.
Well, but he said, yes, get that right. I think it was a little more along the line. Well, I have seen that.
Oh, right.
It's rare, but I have seen that where a carnivore, those other ones aren't responding.
To give you a frame of reference, in January, my trigs were over 300.
Mm-hmm.
Now, leading up to that, I had been following nurse practitioner advice from his organization to try a higher fat carnivore because there was a theory that my trigs were lingering insulin resistance. That didn't prove to be the case. And Dr. Ovadia is like, it's just too much fat for your ability to clear it. So return to your regular carnivore diet and eat 3 meals a day. So I have breakfast, sardines, and dunch.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll check again and see what happened. Well, we did a blood draw for that back in April, but I missed the results coming through. And only today went looking for them, going, where were those results? And sure enough, those results reflected the same thing as to the results I got today. My trigs have been cut in half. They're still too high, 160 something. But my HDL has never been higher than 50, and it has never been 50 twice in a row.
What about when you were on the standard American diet?
It was in the 30s.
How about statins?
30s, maybe up to 40 once I got into carnivore.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of was upper 30s, 40s, but in January, all that high fat, 35.
Mm-hmm.
Unimpressive HDL. I was of the opinion, and I did all kinds of research. I'm like, is there something with my gut? Is there something wrong with the bile from my
Oh, you did the research.
what do you call the thing that squeezes out bile?
Gallbladder?
That's it. I was going to call it the bile sac. And so I was like, it's just genetic. And I'd had doctors look at me on the eye and they're like, yeah, some people they just can't get the HDL to come around. So I was not expecting the number that came through in April, which I just saw today, and today, which came in today. It went from 35 in January, everybody, to an all-time record high, 67. And it was the same on the April one as in the May one, so it wasn't a fluke.
No.
Now, why? That is the question, and I do not know why, other than metabolism finally reached some threshold of healing. Because I also had the fractional particle size and particle count done in January and in April, and it was all red flags. It was all pattern B. It was all bad news in January, and all but 2 of those were green this time around. My HCl particle size and count is way up, of course, to be expected.
Mm-hmm.
And all that remains is LDL particle sizes and number is high. But I am firmly ensconced now in pattern A. Finally, 2.5 years into carnivore.
Welcome to the A bus.
It is finally starting to come around. And I had despaired. I wasn't sure it was ever going to happen.
And I think it's a really important story because you said just now 2.5 years into carnivore. 2.5 years. And I love that you experimented with the high fat. You have results from that and you pulled back. So for some people, high fat is the way, some people it isn't, but you were sort of monitoring the trends and lo and behold, here we are. Yeah.
Oh, Simpsons Johns is here, and
Hey,
she's
Simpson.
asking, how many grams of protein do you eat per day, Eric? I did track this at one point earlier this year,
Mm-hmm.
and I do not remember the number. But it's how big are those?
They're
14
usually,
ounce?
yeah, a little less than a pound.
Maybe 2 14-ounce New York strips, and a tin or two of sardines.
And eggs.
And egg yolks don't have a lot of protein.
Oh,
in
yeah,
them.
egg yolks don't.
So I don't know what that adds up to. And then the fat that's on the steak, and that it's cooked in. And that's it.
Yeah, that is
I don't add butter.
Mm-mm.
Great news, Eric. Congratulations for sticking with it.
Yeah.
Well, that was the thing is, as frustrated as I have been about this whole thing, every time I would run into that, I would go, well, what else am I going to do?
Yeah.
Am I going to try to eat more carbs and think that's going to fix my triglycerides and HDL? That didn't make any sense. So it just had to be healing. It had to be the liver eventually getting the hint and coming around.
Mm-hmm.
And it did.
Yeah.
Crazy. But what it means, I mean, LDL was reported in these, it was super high, but what it means is if those trigs can keep trending down, which I expect that they will, I will be headed straight at LMHR.
Yeah.
Lean mass hyperresponder.
Yeah.
That is where I'm probably going to end up. I don't know the timeline. Maybe it's 6 months. Maybe it's another year. Maybe it's 3 months. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's where I'm headed. And now I don't have to be a special snowflake because I don't like that. I want the good news.
And how did we celebrate this evening?
We did a YouTube live.
Had a steak. Did it YouTube.
Did a YouTube, and now we're going to take the dog for a run. He's going to run. I'm going to drive the side-by-side.
Yeah.
And chill out.
Yeah.
So it seems like we've run out of chat. So I think we're done.
I think we are done.
We will be back with a new pre-recorded video next Tuesday.
Yes.
And we will be here at 5:30 Central live streaming with all the carnivore news you want to hear. So from the world headquarters of the carnivore proper human diet, this is Eric.
Have a great Memorial Day weekend. Every day stronger.
Every day more blessed. She's JJ, by the way.
JJ and Eric, their lipids are high. Their doctors are worried they're both gonna die. Is LDL harmless? They sure hope it's so. It's the JJ and Eric Carnivore Show. Salad is toxic, seed oils are doom. They rub on tallow like greasy perfume. Ribeyes and bacon, that's all they know. It's the JJ and Eric Carnivore Show. No wheat, no kale, they're laughing at greens. 18-hour fasts are their favorite routines. Sugars for suckers, they're chomping on fat. Streaming to you live from the tallow fat. Eric's got muscles, JJ's got zen. They're coming to chat with their carnivore friends. So toss out the lettuce, embrace the beef glow. It's the JJ and